Welcome to the first episode of Eat, Bite, Fuck, Suck, Gobble, Nibble, Chew, Nibble, Bosom, Hair, Pot, Finger, Fuck, Screw.
Marcus, why you got to be so nasty
You
all
asked
the
me,
time?
Jared McCain asked me if we can curse on the podcast. I just wanted him to feel comfortable being himself. You know, Jared, that's a great question.
Shit.
The question really becomes is who will be our audience, and do you want
God help them.
Do you want to be yourself, or do you want to pretend to be something else? It's okay either way.
I gotta be me.
I gotta be me.
I
So
can't
you
even
curse.
pretend anymore.
Okay, so let me do a better intro though.
Okay.
We'll leave the first intro in, but I'll do a better one. Okay, hold on.
Okay.
My name is Marcus Antebi, and welcome to This Is Your Ego.
Ooh, nice. And this is your co-host, Jared McCann. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for tuning in today.
Oh my God, this is going to be a success.
Big success.
Well, this is great. The reason Jared and I are here talking about life and things that we want to talk about, it could be anything. We could talk about how nicely manicured our fingers are. That's our option. Your option is to tune out.
you know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about our relationship. I think that's how we need to kick this podcast off.
Okay.
And just talk
Why
about
don't
how
you
we
tell,
met.
Why don't you tell the story? You go tell the story.
Okay, so Marcus was opening his first juice press, and it was right across the street from where I lived in the Lower East Side. I was probably 25. How long ago was that? When did you
It was
open
2010.
2010. So a little older, 28? 28, how old am I? Anyway, he was opening the first juice press, and before they opened, I came by, and I was so excited because I was into health and juice, and you gave me a raw chocolate sample. And at this time in my life, I was out of my mind. I was on drugs. I was going out every night, and you probably thought, who is this crazy?
You had blue hair.
I had blue hair. Yeah, I had short blue hair, and you probably thought I was totally insane.
No. I
No?
really didn't. I actually liked you. There was only two categories back then for me of judgment.
You
I
like everybody.
No. It's two categories. I either like the person or I don't. Once I like the person, I don't see anything. I'm so used to weirdos. It's because I'm a weirdo myself.
Well, and we're in New York City.
And we're in the East Village.
Yeah.
I mean, my best friend from many years ago was preoperative transsexual.
Yeah.
I didn't. Who cares?
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
But if I don't like you, I care about all those things. That's when you see like, oh, that guy does this, he's that, he's that.
So listen. So then, I kind of got to know you through Juice Press. Hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. You met my aunt. Remember my aunt came to Juice Press one time and you were telling her she's got to get on the raw diet because she's eating too much meat. And she actually listened to you.
Wow.
And, well, she didn't do it. She still has a terrible diet.
Well, she tried it, at least.
She tried it. She was
went-
open to it. She bought a juice that day, felt a little better. So anyway, fast forward, we hadn't seen each other. I had moved to Williamsburg, and I had won the International Yoga Championship back in 2012.
Which, by the way, is not easy.
Which is not easy. Yeah, you have to do a lot of standing bows.
It's absurd that anybody would make yoga into a competition, but I really like the idea very much.
Well, it's actually very Indian. The Indians have been doing yoga competitions
you know what? It's
for a long time.
The whole thing, it's brilliant in its own kind of way because it certainly will...
Hey, we need something to do.
Yeah, no, I think that, first of all, I think that, competition speaks to a lot of things that are natural. And it's obviously if someone's still pushing hard on the postures, they're still in training for something.
I was pushing those poses.
Yeah. And I think also, I think it helps people when they're learning from someone they think is a master.
Yes. Well, so anyway, I became a yoga master during that time period. And
Some sound effects.
Moved to Williamsburg, and then I opened my yoga studio, Lighthouse. And then shortly after I opened, you appeared. And we hadn't seen each other in, I don't know, felt like a decade, maybe a little less.
And I had heard... I actually, before, I came to visit that studio because someone told me that you were really advanced in yoga, and then I saw some pictures that you had posted. I was blown away. I was like, that blue-haired freaky weirdo is doing a freaking
Is now a yoga
scorpion.
master.
He's like doing handstand scorpions. I'm like, what the hell are they putting in the water? So I had to come see what you were doing.
So you did, and you showing up at the studio, I felt like you really cared about me and what I was doing and my business. And then in my mind, I'm also kind of like, why does this guy care so much about what I'm doing? Because you just don't see that a lot in New York City. Then, fast forward, your wife Teresa becomes a amazing yoga student of
She's
mine.
your lowest paying student. I think the number of times she goes, we calculated she's paying $7 a class.
Yeah, probably less. Yeah, Teresa is there every day. Teresa has become a yoga master in just 2 short years.
And it's probably because she's very competitive with herself. Besides her natural talent,
she works her butt off.
she has an agenda.
She has an agenda. And she takes great care of herself. She already had a lot down before
She had the structure.
started the asana.
She had the
Yes.
structure. This put it more into focus.
Exactly. But she had her diet down. She, is just a beautiful, kind. She's an amazing.
Well,
human being.
she was a discipline. She was very disciplined in exercise, which is very
Yes.
important to bring into the physical asana practice. Is to say that no matter what, I'm showing up, and I'm going to try. And I think that when you have a yoga school with mirrors, then people look at the mirrors and they probably make a lot of what they're trying to do about vanity and the perfection of the postures, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's definitely step one.
I do too.
There's a graduation, obviously, and that's what this show is about.
Come into your body.
Well, it's about, obviously we have a great asana practice guy here. You're like a 10. I'm like a solid 5.
Yeah, maybe even 6 now.
Maybe 6.
Maybe 6. But wait. Let me finish this. So,
Okay.
So then Teresa and I become friends. I've become pretty close with your wife, and I just adore her and think she's one of the most amazing human beings on the planet. And Teresa invited me to do ayahuasca with her at her house. I'd never done ayahuasca before. I was always kind of...
That's where you guys were? How come she told me you guys were going to the movies?
Well, we had to tell you something. And so Teresa said, you know what, I want to just have a private ceremony at the beach house, just the two of us and the shaman, and then another one of her friends came, a small group of people. So I said, okay, I'm in, let's do it. So, drink the ayahuasca, having a good time. And, my whole ayahuasca trip was like, thank God I do yoga. I really understood how powerful yoga can be to change your energy and change your life when I was on the ayahuasca, because I actually saw it. I was able to visually see what the energy was doing while you're doing yoga and meditation and postures and all that stuff. So, but the other thing that came through during that ayahuasca trip is very clearly I knew that Teresa was my mother in a pretty recent past life. I felt it, and I could also see her face in this, I don't know, alternate reality, past life. I mean, who knows about these things? But sometimes you just get a really deep feeling. And I went over and hugged her, and she said to me, I didn't say anything. She said to me, I feel like you're my son. And I'm like, I know, because you're my mother. And I also realized, Marcus, that you are my father. And I know this sounds insane. Who are these people? I don't know you, but it just makes sense and felt right. And I feel like for some reason you guys are here to help, I don't know, guide or parent me or support me somehow. And
Yeah, but how then, if you had that vision and you believe in that, how would you put that into practical application?
well, I don't know exactly how to put that into practical application other than feeling just a deeper sense of connection with the two of you that I can't really explain.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything to do.
Well, you know what? I would take time to, over the course of some shows, to maybe dabble into the psychology of that in different ways in order to be
Yeah.
helpful to others, not necessarily overanalyze something for no purpose, but the idea would be to try to extend what we think is a yoga practice into service, which I think our show, our interviews, the things that we do in content, if we could really try to be minimal ego, almost like 20% ego, 80% being of service, there's something really value to there. The ego has to show up and choose an outfit and have some personality and flavor.
Of course.
You know, so I think that if so one of the great things about doing this show with you for me is that oftentimes I find it very difficult to find people to talk to about the discoveries that I'm making.
Mm-hmm.
And the discoveries that I make, I what I try to do is between 5 and 6 days a week, I try to make time for very specifically for the yoga work. And the yoga term is very general for me now at age 50 because it doesn't just mean the asana practice, and it really, for me, even extends much further than what the Far East Indian culture is talking about in the practices of yoga beyond the physical practices. I feel like when I use the word yoga, I'm really just using a symbol for mindful living. It's the same way that I think that a samurai, a Zen monk, a Buddhist monk, a great rabbi, a great cleric, a great priest, Christian, anyone who's trying to have self-realization, and even in the midst of cracking open of self-realization and becoming an awake, we actually have to form a team. There's a lot of questions to be asked, like, okay, is this the right way to think? What's more important with this? Thank you for the music.
Well, and we
should talk about a lot of that stuff.
You need someone to kind of bounce your ideas off of, and sometimes it's also helpful just to hear yourself say out loud what you're experiencing and what you're going through, so that you can better understand and process it.
So I'm very anti-guru, the idea of it in a traditional sense.
Same.
And I drew some of my own conclusions about. There's two types of guru worshiping. The one type of guru worshiping is the one where the guy himself, I use guy because it's mostly men, goes out of his way to create the image of a guru that people will follow, and he relishes in the attachment to that position, and he actually thinks he knows something. That's one type of guru. The other type of guru is the one who actually probably lived a true yogi life, and when he died, someone else came along and said, wow, if we use this guy's image, we can consolidate power, even if it's innocent power, which is the purpose of, let's say, having a yoga school and teaching knowledge. People don't realize that they're actually through another dead guru, they're doing the indirect guru of themselves. They're still consolidating the power. They're still guiding people's attention away from the right things to the wrong things. And it's still a form of manipulation. It's a problem for me. I see it holding most people back.
Well, it can also be a form of inspiration. I mean, I think the most popular guru right now is Jesus Christ. That's kind of the big one.
What about Muhammad?
Muhammad, yeah. You know what? I guess I'm just referring to our American lifestyle, where most people come.
Anybody that speaks English that watches the show, they know who Jesus is.
Yeah, people know who Jesus is. And, regardless of whether you're Christian or not, I mean, well, really, this is just for Christians. Jesus is a symbol of purity and love and compassion that people can look up to and try to replicate that image within themselves.
But it doesn't end with that. The problem is that there's not, the teaching really has to be more along the lines of a Buddhist teaching, or a lot of the things that the Vedantic teachings teaches, that we're all Christ. What happens is that they put too much emphasis on one individual, and everyone gets permanently distracted. And so while you can say it's inspiration, I like the idea of inspiration. Here's a great moment to use inspiration. We're all on a ship. The thing is sinking. It's going down for sure, and we're probably going to die. And everyone comes to me. They think I know something, and they say, are we going to be okay? And I go, we're all just fine. Great inspiration. It's a time that it's needed. But in terms of other moments in life when we're not on a sinking ship, we can't turn people's concentration away from the inner work and for the understanding that we're all God consciousness.
Absolutely. And that is the trouble with the guru, is people put all their attention outside of themselves. and they think that they need this external person
Because
to
that's what we teach
be
them.
better or to be enlightened. And really, I think the work of a real teacher is to turn the energy back into you.
Yeah.
So that you stay self-aware of your thoughts and your feelings and your life and what's going on.
Show me a guru that wears a gold necklace with the words "I don't know" on it, and he could be my teacher.
I got to get that necklace.
That's amazing. That's an amazing piece.
That's
Great.
an amazing piece.
I would say is that you personally have a lot of.
great. I need that necklace.
Should I write down as a note?
You really put that deep in my
I don't know.
desire.
Come on, I'm good at spiritual branding. The point that I am trying to make is this: that what I have discovered is that I took the training wheels off about 2 years ago. There's nobody left out there who's going to tell me.
Well, and you really searched. You really were looking for gurus, and you went to a lot of high spiritual people. You know, I never did that. I had this. I think I did have this idea that a guru was going to come save me in my 20s, and then when I hit 30, I think I kind of realized ain't nobody coming to save you.
By the way, do you like the music or do you like it without the music?
I kind of like it.
Okay, it's kind of corny. Okay, cool. I like it.
You don't like it?
I do like it. I just want to make sure, just everyone knows.
I could change
that,
it.
no,
I'm into it.
We're being ultra corny. Probably in one of the episodes, he might be wearing mala beads. I might be wearing mala beads.
I don't wear my mala.
Once in a while, I think we should have somebody here with a turban on, just to mix it up.
I actually wore a turban this morning because I went to Kundalini class.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. No, we're going to get into it.
Okay. Because I'm going to start wearing a turban all the time. It's coming.
Our main audience, if we have an audience ever, is going to be mostly into yoga.
Absolutely.
So I think that we do have to.
Or who knows? Who knows who will attract?
We're not attracting Hell's Angels. Bikers are not going to listen to this. Really?
Yeah.
Like
you're a Hell's Angel.
Kind of? Not really. I can't kill anybody or sell crystal meth, so I'm out of it. I'm out. And generally, I don't like dirt underneath my fingernails. So there's like all the check boxes
I know,
are wrong.
I'm like a cat. I got to be clean, 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 clean.
Yeah, well, that's part of good yoga.
Yeah.
The body's a temple. I mean, come on, guys. This is basic stuff. We shouldn't have to cover this stuff.
Wait, what were we talking about, though?
We were going deep into guru chasing. I want to just make a 50-year-old man's conclusion about the whole idea. Anybody that teaches self-discovery, anyone who teaches compassion to creatures is already a great teacher, and they're worth listening to.
Yes. But
at some point, you have to take the training wheels off and start writing the program on how to live your life.
Absolutely.
And there are great teachings that have been passed down, and thank you for all the generations that can guide us. They can tell us not to kill things. They could tell us how to maintain the body. They can give us guidance even to understanding the nature of God.
Yes.
A lot of that work is college work. You can't do that work until you've done kindergarten, 8th grade, 10th grade, and you've gone through the whole system, which what this means is the first work is to be done in the physical body. A person has to resign themselves to doing emotional work, releasing trapped energy that prevents them from seeing the truth in the first place.
And asana helps with that.
Asana is awesome, and you could say why.
Well, I think, I don't know. I'm a little conflicted at this point. Asana shows you where the things are stuck. They can really highlight your emotional holding patterns in your physical body. But the asana does not clear the emotional holding patterns. And this is where people often get stuck. You actually have to do the deeper work to go deeper in the asanas and to remove these emotional holding patterns. Can I disagree? Hold on.
Go ahead.
And that work is forgiveness. Forgiveness of things that you've done, forgiveness of people that have done wrong things to you. And I think asana alone doesn't do it. Asana shows you where to work.
It's absurd. Anybody that thinks that they practice yoga and they master postures, that they're suddenly going to deal with issues like my mommy didn't breastfeed me and my daddy didn't hug me. It's absurdity, and it's actually one of the things. What I was going to say about disagreement is that I think that, and it's become very clear to me in the stuff that I'm writing, The universal solution to fix broken people is
Yeah.
to teach people how to literally, without interruption, connect to all the feelings that are in their body and to let them process themselves. They don't actually have to
Absolutely.
interfere. So one of the things that an asana practice can do is it can actually bring up a physical pain,
feelings.
and when you become good and very mindful, you probably could connect it to something that's in your current emotional world. You could
Absolutely.
actually connect it to something that you remember that you haven't forgive yet, you haven't healed from yet,
Absolutely.
forgave. The problem is it's not the philosophy that you just said about forgiveness. The problem is it requires more instruction. It's like a piece of IKEA furniture. It's not enough to tell people that forgiveness and compassion are the answer. We actually have to lead the horse to water. We have to show them step by step what actually causes true forgiveness. It's not denial. You can't just say, oh, my teacher said forgive, and now I forgive my mommy.
Absolutely.
There's work that
Yes.
has to be done,
Yes.
and there's instructions that you can give a person.
Yes.
You can instruct them. Clinical therapy, it has its place, it's useful, but oftentimes it's like processed because it's disconnected from how human beings might process their feelings. For example, group therapy has a more cathartic healing because it's more like a tribal council. Even having a fire lit while someone's talking about their feelings or listening to someone talk about their feelings is a way to remove feelings. But
Yes.
forgiveness, of course, is the hardest of all places to come to. When a person truly reaches forgiveness, it's enlightenment all at once.
Yeah.
How do you get there? That's not it just making the blanket statement. It's not just you stating that you forgive that gets you there. It's work.
I think it really comes through feeling,
Yeah.
connecting to what is the, for me, I start physical because I have physical gifts through my yoga practice. So if I find some pain or some tightness or something that just doesn't feel right somewhere, oftentimes I'll just sit down and meditate and really just keep my attention there. And then oftentimes that physical pain, I can connect to the emotion behind it and then really focus on that.
And how
which
do you
is-
how do you deal with the emotion then?
I just feel it.
Give me an example of an emotion that you would talk about.
I just feel it. I mean, I've gone through. I think the emotion always stems from fear. Always stems from fear. But, like I had a pain. Okay, I had a pain in my left hand, really bad, right in the center of my palm. It's probably 7 years ago, and I couldn't figure it out. And my hand just kept getting hurting all the time. It was hurting to do handstand. It was hurting to do down dog. It was just hurting all the time. So finally sat down, meditated, focused on the pain in my hand, and I was able to connect that pain to an inability to receive, which came from feelings of unworthiness. I didn't feel worthy, and it was specifically of receiving thank you from my students. My students would say after class, oh, thank you for class. Thank you for class. I would say, oh, no, thank you. Oh, no, thank you. Oh, no, thank you for coming. And after connecting to that lack of, I don't even know, it's hard to sometimes put these things into words, but my inability to accept thanks from my students because I did not feel worthy, and I switched it. Next day, people told me thank you, and I said, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Instantaneously, the pain in my hand went away. Like, not even, and it was instant, gone. And I still have to remember to do that. 7 years later, my tendency still is, oh no, thank you. Oh no, it wasn't me, thank you. And so I'm very careful when someone says thank you, I just say, you're welcome.
I think it's a great teaching. I actually remember you told me that story, and I think about it a lot, mostly when I'm thanking yoga teachers that I see have a difficult time taking a thank you from me.
Well, because we're taught to no ego. You're not.
Or sometimes it's worse. I get a feling from some of the teachers that the thank you is a given.
Right.
Like like, yeah, you're right. Thank me.
Yeah.
So they feel like I'm just being standard courteous. They're not looking at me going, oh,
And receiving that
but
energy,
also that
thank
I
you
am
from
a
you.
thinking person that's making a very conscious decision to thank that person for their service.
Which is so beautiful.
And they're not connecting to it.
Well, and I get it. Most of us are not connected to any of the words that we're
half
saying
asleep
throughout our day. We're half
asleep.
asleep.
Okay,
Yes.
so I want to make that story a segue into what I work on right now. I have two areas of work I have to work on. One is all of the old stuff in my history that I know lives inside my body, and my defense is I've found a perfect way to numb myself throughout my life from feeling certain things.
We all.
Which is a great defense. However, it numbs me from the things that I want to be feeling that are
Yes.
not negative. So I'm working on...
And it numbs you from processing the things that need to be processed to keep you free and clear.
The worst thing that it does is it creates up a whole cycle of confusion, delusion, conditioning.
Suffering.
It takes me out of the present moment, which is uncomfortable because I'm somewhere that's other than what's real and what's happening.
Yes.
So I'm working on that, and I have some strategies that I am writing down so I could give clear instruction to myself if I forget, and maybe somebody else may find them of value. The other thing I have to work on is the ultimate conscious healing, where I have these moments, mostly when I'm practicing yoga, where I get this moment of utter grief coming from the ego that I realize the entire thing is a ruse, and my ego and all of that are not really that real. It's just vapor and dust that I've imagined. And it's such a blow to my ego that I'm not really going to live forever. Even when I know most of the time intellectually that I'm not going to live forever, somehow in my deeper subconscious, we just don't actually get that we're crumbling, we're falling apart.
We have no idea.
So the first part of the grief for me is the acceptance of that.
Of death.
Of just just dissolving. It's not even death. It's like a slow dissolve. We're coming in with such bright force, and it's actually slowly muting, and it's going through a funnel. And when you become aware of that process at first, it is scary, but it's actually a breakthrough because there's nothing else for me to concentrate, therefore, on, in truth, than on what's eternal about me, and not really put too much focus and attachment on the things that are really just passing. There's work that has to be done. And I've written this map stuff out a long time ago. I said, becoming spiritual is not about letting go of the self to the point where you become filthy and disengaged and say, why should it matter? I'm dying anyway.
Yeah.
I just believe that to be a wrong teaching. I think people experimented with that for a very, very long time, and it's truly not compassionate to the vehicle you're occupying.
Absolutely.
Part of the journey of this experience is to accept that it is a human experience. There's an animal alive. It's actually fighting and kicking for life. I have to enable that, not just through my physical practice, but through the thoughts that I keep. And really the job that I'm trying to do here is to harm as little as possible on my way through. I know a lot of this stuff's very cliche. What do you think? You still like the music?
I feel like you're telling me you don't like the music.
You know what? It depends. Wait, it depends. When I do, part of my regimen is I like at nighttime, I have like 10 or 12 things I listen to on YouTube, and they just really reset me because I really now take my dream time as another reality. Like I'm going into a dream state, and mastery is literally being an observer, the same way we should be in life. I do it in my dreams. I did it last night where there's a dream happening. I have no control over what's going on.
And you're watching
but I'm watching it, and I'm kind of laughing. Sometimes I over-engage in it. I get lost.
Yeah, of course. Well, just like daytime.
Yeah. So the dream...
Yes.
You know what? Not no.
Not know.
Yeah, right? Like, this is good music.
Yeah.
Sometimes piano concerto. Yeah, why should we be like pigeonholed as like those spiritual goofballs?
I like it. Yeah.
So I think that the thing that the things that I listen to at night, they just make me think about how I want to organize my philosophy about who I really am ultimately. And I do think a lot about, I don't have a better word. I don't like the branding around the word divine creator. It's I think it's very exclusive.
God. You're saying God?
God. I don't like the branding of the word God in 2019. I don't.
You would like to rebrand God.
No. In this capacity,
It's a great idea.
it's just the word. Words are everything. If I write something and I say to find God and blah, 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 I'll attract people that like the word God and want to use the word God as something that we're talking about.
You know, one thing that's nice about Hinduism is they never define God. They only say what God isn't. That's the only way
That's
they
deep shit.
can get there.
That's deep
And I
shit.
think that's very smart.
But remember, it's still packaged in a way, because it's shrouded by Hinduism, which is nothing wrong, that it's exclusive to people who are into that. In other words, Albert Einstein talked about God in a mathematical way. And astronomers and people like who like physicists, they talk about God in a way that includes people who are more scientific, that are more Western. I think it's all the same thing, but I'm looking for my way of saying it so that I could feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable when I get to the end of my philosophy. I believe in divine creation. I don't like using that word in my writing, in my sentence. I like to say supreme self, supreme consciousness. I'm looking for a brand name that I think is accessible for the people that I'm going to talk to. I'm not going to be sitting at a biker's rally, which I don't go to, but if I was, and say, guys, do you understand divine creator? I mean, they drop me in a well.
Yeah.
Does that sound weird?
No.
I mean,
No.
if I was sitting with the yoga group or in AA, I would say higher power. With yoga people, I would say God, the supreme. I'm a stickler. I'm a perfectionist. The way you are with the poses.
Yeah,
I'm
I
a
know
perfectionist
about the
with
words.
the use of the words.
As I think you should be. I think we all have to be very careful with our words and learn to say exactly what we mean, which is hard. And we disagree about this because I think English language is really difficult to express certain things. I think there's a lot of things that we do not have the capability to talk about, like God, for example.
Yeah.
There are no, or supreme consciousness, or whatever you want to call that thing that is within and without and part of us
I just
all.
want to use math. I don't want to get lost in
Yeah.
religious words. I'm
But even math doesn't work there. It's like I feel like even math starts to fail. I think even logic fails.
It does.
I think.
But at the point where we get to the cliff, where we have to jump off, then we can say, use your own words.
Yeah.
But the idea is to get the person to that point where they have some concept of what we're talking about. I would say is that if I have a person in front of me who believes that they are only a physical, mechanical body, everything is chance, they're in a physical, mechanical universe, and there's nothing that created this, I would say, too complicated of an argument. I can't make it with you because I don't have the math.
Absolutely.
But I could, when I close my mind and I envision things, I use my own logic. I say, I am God to the universe that lives within me. And they're not aware of me. They don't know what I'm doing right now, that they're saying, oh, he's doing a podcast. There's trillions of cells that are inside of me.
You don't think they know you're doing a podcast? They might.
They don't have the word podcast.
They might.
I don't think. I think that's it becomes a Walt Disney movie.
I think all the cells within you are participating in the
They're
podcast.
participating, but they don't have my consciousness. Remember, I am made up.
Right.
Of
As
their
you're participating and you don't have God's
exactly.
consciousness.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is that if you look at what's happening within me, it's a description of what's happening one level up. We're just cells
Absolutely.
inside of a body that we can't detect because we don't have the view to be able to go, oh, that's what we're inside of. That's what's going on. We can think about it. We can create stories. They're probably all partly true. The stories that people create. You have to, in order to be happy, you have to create your version of that story, is what I tell people. Not just follow everyone else's version of the story.
Well, I think it's important that you feel your own version
Yes.
of your story, and that you don't intellectualize your version of the story, or you tell a version of the story that someone else told you. I think it's the real part of the real work here is to individuate, get your own brain. Don't be a lemming.
Right.
Don't just do what your guru says.
Great teaching.
But what do you feel? What do you
Yeah, and it may have a little
experience?
bit. It may have a little bit of someone's influence in it.
Of course.
I don't think you're gonna be an inventor and just literally come up with a whole new formula.
Well, impossible. We're here together with billions of other human beings, and we're all influencing.
And we are
each
part of
other.
a collective.
Yes.
So it's likely that most of the stories will
We're
create.
each just a cell in God's body.
Most likely, the story that you will create will be a story that has the same ending, and it's a positive story with good characters in it, and it's not an evil story. It's not a story
Yes.
about. It's not like I'm going to meditate and come out and say, "Oh, I should go on a spree killing." That would not be divine. That would really just be mental illness. And I think it's
Yeah.
important that philosophers, and they do, make that distinction, that say that there is a right way to live. It's a judgment. And if you don't live that way in society, guess what? They have a place for you. It's called prison. You want to be crazy
Yeah.
and violent? Do that in there.
Yeah.
Go into your cell at night. That's not what we're trying to achieve. We're not even exploring that as an option.
What? Killing people?
If we were starting from over, let's say this was
Maybe
the year,
that could be our new business.
this was
Murder,
the
Inc.
year minus 10,000. This was the year minus 10,000.
Oh,
There
I
just
got a few people I could kill.
just happened to be a podcast available, and we had to start philosophy from the very, very, very beginning. One of the things that one of us would have to go off and do is lots of evil. One of us would have to come back and say, "It doesn't work. I tried it.
Yeah.
It's not good at all."
Well, I think one of the cool things about both of us is I never harmed other people. Maybe I did, but really I harmed myself. A lot of, I came from a sort of abusive and difficult upbringing, and
Wow, you're the only one.
yeah, I'm the only one. It's just me. And so a big part of my, using drugs and, my lack of self-love, I just had to process all that stuff that I grew up with, and had to try to harm myself for 6 years of my life before I woke up and said, okay, I'm tired of this. This is not working.
Wow, you made it.
I made it. Thank God I made it. No, I
Some
really...
some people don't make it.
I really do feel that way, Marcus. I know it sounds kind of funny, but I do feel like, thank God I made it.
You made it past the common age that great talent die, which is 27.
Yes.
You're not part of the 27-year-old club. You're not,
I was headed
You're not
to
with
the
Jimi
27
Hendrix,
club.
Janis Joplin.
I was heading there, but I diverted paths, got into yoga, started meditating. And getting off that path was the hardest thing in the world for me. I literally prayed all day for 2 months straight. And then I go to yoga.
You're a fanatic.
And then back to pray. And I saw an angel that came to help me to get off drugs and stop hanging out with all my druggy friends. And I stuck to it. I kicked it, and the rest is history.
Well, I think it's great. We covered philosophy in this first episode. We got a little bit into our mindsets. We revealed a little bit about our personal backgrounds. I think that it's important, if by some chance people don't know who I am. My name is Marcus Antebi. My life includes things like skydiving for many years, fighting competitive Thai boxing. I started a juice company called Juice Press in New York, which I'm no longer a part of. I sold that recently. I'm very grateful.
Did?
Yes, completely out.
You're totally done.
I'm done.
Oh, I didn't.
I just get a 40%
Congratulations.
discount on the product if I shop in the stores.
Only 40%.
I'm very grateful.
How rude.
It's grateful. It's
Okay,
it's expensive
okay.
product. I'm grateful.
Okay.
I still consume it.
Yeah.
I hope they don't take it away from me.
Yeah.
And you, Jared, tell us a little bit about you.
I am Jared Holder Mcann. And actually, I grew up as a classical pianist. That was my escape growing up and my creative outlet and my way to process all the emotional turmoil that was going on in me. So I had an amazing Japanese piano teacher named Mrs. Goshi.
Can you play Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata
No,
piano?
play Fantasy Impromptu by
Oh, that's
Chopin.
by Chopin. I was going to say that. And make sure
Impromptu.
make sure that it's a definitely has to be a Korean who plays it.
Or a Japanese, any sort of Asian.
Asians,
yeah, Asians do it
that's
best.
it. Wow.
I have a 9-year-old
No,
Japanese
okay,
girl.
that's
Yes, perfect,
good. Can you put it on the screen too?
perfect.
We're gonna get it on screen.
This is amazing.
Wait, so you played the piano?
So I play the piano, and
Is that you?
yeah, that's me as a child. I loved wearing my pink dress. Oh, I played the song a million times.
Can you still play it?
I can still play the song. I can actually still play this one.
You know, I listen to this. I listen to this, not her, 4 nights a week before I go to sleep. I just got
This
it.
exact song?
I
Fantasy Impromptu?
study piano. I don't play. Could we lower the volume a little bit? I believe that if you study classical music properly, you can see it's a metaphor for the equilibrium that must form in everything in the material world. I'm not quite sure how to put it into words yet.
Music is a language of God.
Can we go to Beethoven Moonlight Sonata piano?
Okay.
I just
You love the Moonlight Sonata?
I know. I just discovered it last night.
You just discovered the
I'm
Moonlight
not.
Sonata?
You know what? Chopin and Debussy are by far my favorite. I love Rachmaninoff, but I would say I'm not a
Beethoven's-
big fan of the super classics. Like when you go to Beethoven, Mozart,
Yeah.
they come from a much different time when music could be very offensive. If they hit playful chords in the presence of a queen, it was considered an insult. So I feel like for Beethoven, this was like rock and roll.
Beethoven was rock and roll.
And people that don't understand music can't hear that subtlety. You could explain it to them by explaining to them what people would expect when they would sit and listen. First of all, in order to sit in the parlor in a castle
Yeah.
and hear an accomplished pianist play, you already had to be a super elite.
Well, I think in order to listen, you do have to be pretty elite.
Woo!
That is an elite quality.
It is an elite
To
quality.
listen.
But back then,
Oh, thank you.
But back in those days, it was more of snobbery and academic snobbery.
Yeah.
And I think people could be in that room and could be playing the piano and people wouldn't even hear what was being played. And
yeah.
one of the most powerful things about anything music.
Well,
but
people are going to listen to our podcast, and they're not even going to hear what we're saying.
some people will. My wife will.
Love you, Teresa.
What this individual did is he created something impossible from nothing.
Well, we all must do that.
It's unbelievable. And this is a language. He's communicating emotion through perfect selection of chords.
Perfect. Yeah, this is saying something. To me,
Oof.
this is saying something that no words can
You can't
possibly
say it.
express.
Well, it follows the laws of nature.
What are the laws of nature?
I'll give me some time to figure out how to explain that.
Okay.
There is a
Stay tuned, listeners. The laws
when
of
you
nature.
why is it
coming
that
soon.
when you see a beautiful tree or you see a landscape or a sunset, how is it that you're moved by that?
It's just a feeling in your heart, you know?
Where does it come from?
I don't know.
It's the same place why you could be moved by music. It's something familiar, and it's directly connected to divine creation.
It's expressing something that maybe we can't normally express.
It's expressing God.
Yes.
This is what God does to create. Lack of better word, bad branding. Sorry, guys. 2019 word for God is the one that made all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And because we are that
I
stuff.
don't know if God did make all this stuff. I think
What?
I think
Can we get some sound effects on that one?
what?
No, that's if one of us shows our boobs. I think if we have like a really controversial philosophy, there has to be like something that's dropped, like a big crash through another
I
reality.
like the explosion.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, you
He
can't go wrong
doesn't
with an
think
explosion.
that God created all this stuff. Oh, you
No.
think that we did.
Yeah.
But who created us?
I think God created us, but not in the way that we think.
We are such total assholes. We are talking about this shit with Beethoven in the background. I mean, can this be any more ridiculous? You know what would be great is episode 3, you're wearing a lot of mascara and you just start sobbing and the mascara is just running down your face. We will actually we'll be the biggest people out there.
Okay. I've always
People
wanted
need
to
that
have
kind of
moment.
entertainment. They need it.
I think they have it. I think it's on reality TV and all over the place.
So what should we give them?
Well, I'll give them running mascara. Or I'll give them what they want. That's what I'm here for. I just want to give you what you want.
I thought that tires you out.
I'm exhausted. I need to sleep.
How about
for a
this is
month.
just your therapy, your way of trying to put your philosophies into the world and air them out and maybe change and try on new ones?
Okay.
What if it was just for you?
It is just for me. You, my friend, are just for me.
Tune in. If there might be a next time, I don't know, but we'll figure it out next.
Thank you, listeners.
Thank you.
I just want you to know you've been here just for me. As I have been here just for you.
If you keep giving people nice postures to look at, they'll listen to you.
I'm done with the nice postures.
What are you working on now?
You know what? You know what I did 2 days ago?
What?
I took I moved into an apartment when I broke up with my ex-boyfriend, and I haven't had a piano for 3 months. No, 3 years, excuse me. Which has been killing me to not have a piano. I've played the piano every day of my life for the past 30 years. So right now I don't have a piano, but I just took a keyboard, an old keyboard, out of my closet. I set it up, and I've been playing and writing music again.
Are you a better pianist or a better yogi?
Well, now I'm not that great at either.
But you're not that great.
But I
pretty good.
was an amazing pianist, and I was an amazing yogi.
See, you're doing the yoga school all wrong. What you have to do, here's what you need.
What do I need?
You need probably about another 1,000 square feet. And in the center of the yoga studio, there has to be a Steinway and Sons, a really like 120,000.
I have always said this.
Okay,
I've
and you come
always
out,
said this.
and I think there's a little bit of a Liberace component to it.
Absolutely.
But more yogi Liberace.
But even for me to just riff on the piano while people are in
it's
shavasana,
insanity, and you're saying things
they
into the
would
microphone.
Die.
Do you know how?
Yeah.
You know how successful
Surrender,
we're putting this
trust,
project together.
Love.
Yes, and you just play
Allow
classical
what
music.
is.
People will be crying. There'll be snot.
Relax.
You have to clean up snot after the classroom because the women will be sobbing to tears.
I don't want to clean up snot. I already have to clean up a lot of sweat.
We'll have somebody come and do it.
Okay.
And it's karma yoga.
Yeah. Thank God.
But
Thank
who
you,
will
karma
teach when you're
yogis.
traveling? I mean, Henry can't play the piano, can he?
No one else can play the piano.
It's okay. You know what's going to come out from this is people that play the cello and do yoga really good. So you could have
Duets.
double. But I think if this was exciting enough, you'd stop traveling.
Maybe. I have to travel. That's really how I make my money.
Yeah, but this is big. This is Las Vegas.
This might be Las Vegas.
This is the greatest.
Las Vegas
It's
and
going to be the
Williamsburg.
most ridiculous thing in the history of yoga.
Okay.
The first yoga pianist. You get up? Do you get up once in a while and demonstrate the pose?
Yeah, and then I do a little serenade on the piano.
Back to it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No,
we're gonna-
I've been saying
Oh
this
God.
for years.
Anybody that wants to invest in this project, you know how to reach me.
I want
all
a
right.
white baby grand for anyone who wants to invest in this project. White.
Is it lacquered or
baby
flat or is it
grand.
matte?
I want a lacquered one. Keep it classic. Matte is. I mean,
I
I,
think
love
you're
a
right.
matte thing,
No, but
it's too new.
I
It's
think
too
you're right.
new.
I think you're right.
It needs to be classic white.
Would you think that, let's say, like a fully mirrored piano would be too much? so that
I
people
want the
could see.
piano to be white, but I want the room to be mirrored.
But what if the piano actually like people, like there could be a class at 2 o'clock Friday, could be everybody's facing the piano and they can see their reflection doing a posture while you played.
Okay, I think we've taken this a little.
We're doing
too
no matter
far.
what anyone says, we're doing piano yoga. It's going to happen within the next 2 years.
Let's see. Okay.
All right. All, thanks a lot.
Okay. Thanks, guys.